Greetings. I hope you're full of hope and wonder because things are about to get real dark. Please lay back, relax, have a sip of tea or coffee, scratch away, you do you. So first things first, I'm Hoots. Welcome to my channel. I'm just a simple guy. I play a lot of D&D off and on for about 7-8 years. I gained a lot of friends at a lot of places, at the workplaces, at game shops, that kind of thing. Because when you're with a group of people, working together, cheering together, laughing together, cringing together, and dealing with the shit together, you form naturally with, bonds with people. You spend a lot more time with them, out of game, in game. And you always think back to the pointless things that you do. However, you're giving something more precious to these people: time. Sometimes too much time. So I'm going to tell you a tale of caution, a legend of friendship, a fable of dreams, and eventually the unholy garbage fire of feelings that besieged our unfortunate guild. This is the account of a game master, guild master, of the Guild of the Hawk. As a side note, I'd just like to say that I wish I had the chat logs saved. I'm sure that they will pop up in the comments. Just understand that I'm not targeting anyone. Players' names will be changed, however, but I will not change the player characters' names. For the record, no one was writing this story. It was just shitty behavior all around. So much like a lot of tales and stories, our tale begins one spring afternoon. 2017 is still fresh. I was breezing through YouTube when I stumbled across a video, a trailer, showing off a simulator. They were playing 3D board games. It had VR, tons of tools. You could do custom 3D, 2D models, had tons of features. Then in the trailer, I saw something that stuck with me right away, which was an RPG set. It had 3D animated figures, walls, floors. So it didn't take me long. I started to look it up on Steam. Sure enough, there were people playing D&D, Warhammer, Chess, Secret Hitler, Joking Hazard, to name a few on this simulator. The next hour, I totally bought it, downloaded it, and within about 3-4 hours, I was able to start playing some D&D. Unfortunately, though, it was rather quite lukewarm because, shocker, when you're playing with people online, they'll naturally fuck around, which I have no problem with, as long as you go into that with that mentality. Eventually, though, I fell into a game called Doom the Board Game, and to sum it up, it plays a lot like XCOM, Space Hulk. It's a very tactical co-op game. It was really easy to teach people within about 5 to 10 minutes. It was a lot of fun. I ended up adding a lot of stuff to it, making maps and stuff like that. But as I kept playing it, I eventually just kept getting that itch to play D&D. So I would join in about 5 to 7 sessions, all one-shots that really never really went anywhere or finished. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people that have never played before, so a lot of Ricky DMs would make them make PCs right then and there, but, they have no experience. And because most new players have no idea how to make a PC, it'll take like an hour, hour and a half. This is on average. It's just the nature of the beast. So, 30 minutes would go by into the, after the player has been made, and 30 minutes would go into the adventure, and GG. Either the DM or the player would pretty much go into the void, and that was pretty much it. So after that shenanigans, I started making pre-made player sheets for people. So when they jumped in, we could just sit down and play, and we could just get right at her. Then it hit me. I'll start a D&D group. I'll use Discord, and we'll organize everything like that. And I'll basically take the framework of a existing thing in real life. Because when I was I had previous experience in Adventure League because of a game shop that I play in the town that I live in. So I like the Adventure League because you can drop in and out. You can kind of play sessions whenever you want to. It was just a lot easier to deal with. jumping in, it'd be a lot easier to get into games and host games because, in real time, as opposed to like forums and stuff where there's also a game of telephone as well. So I started up the group, and next thing you know, I posted up on the Steam forums, and boom, people started joining in. So keep in mind, I'll be using PC's names in place of the player names, because. Also keep in mind, when the server was created, we had in mind that the roleplay text chat would have an outcome in the overall game of it. I have to make sure that you understand that. So right around then, I had about 11 people altogether. 9 of them never played before. One guy has played before. His character is named Thane. He is a Oathbreaker half-orc paladin. He's basically a super fucking edgelord. You'll notice I'll be using that a lot. He said when I first met him, he kept talking about how he's played lots before, but he's been in a lot of groups. So right there, I kind of had a red flag for the guy because if you don't usually, it's like a job. If you sit there and you keep popping around in different jobs and you can't hold down a job, it's usually a red flag for something. The other gent that joined in, he was the only other DM at the start. We'll call him by his character name, Garlic. He's a human lawful neutral cleric. Yeah. So a week goes by, people join up, and up to about 20 people within a week. Garlic and I ran about 5 games, and they were about 6 hours a pop, which actually garnered a lot of attention on the rather small community at the time. We had another DM who joined several weeks after, named Alice. Well, it's her character name, right? So she played a lot of D&D 4th edition, and given that 5th edition is pretty fucking easy, too easy in my opinion, then we had lots of people begin flooding in. It's you have a chick in your D&D group, you're solid. There'll be people, they'll flock. So people began flooding in about 2 weeks. About this point, we have about 70 members or so that were active pretty much every day. We had a couple more people join as DMs. The only person I could really think of off the top of my head that was noteworthy was Vetrov. And unfortunately, he is what you would call a white knight. Your PC, yeah. He played for a bit. He wanted DM, so we let him, and he was doing pretty good. Most of his campaigns are very lighthearted. One of the things I remember was he had a campaign that was about Power Ranger enemies that were attacking the group. Like they all had, the colors, red, blue, yellow, and yeah, it was funny. It was a little fuck around quest. It was a lot of fun. So as people started joining in, it was around this time we started making rules. Like you had to register, in quotations, your player character in order to play in a game. Think of it much like an MMO. When you create like an email account and you make a character and stuff like that. It was just a way for us to basically create an ecology of magic items, gold, etc. Which was a double-edged sword because suddenly everything had fucking value. Keep that in mind. Everyone started off with the point buy system. Certain races and classes were scrapped just to balance things out, like cross-classing, broken builds, stuff like that. Unfun mechanics. For unfun mechanics, I can think right off the bat was we had a player that was a Goliath fighter that specialized in grappling. So we figured, okay, yeah, sweet, this will be cool. Maybe he'll be doing like a Hulk Hogan kind of thing. No, he just picked guys up and just wandered around with them. Like didn't slam them on the ground, just picked them up and walked around in a circle. Yeah. It was about this time when I wrote up the code of conduct. Basically, it was just to ensure that no one, basically nobody. It basically discouraged greed and just asshole behavior. Essentially, like basic stuff. Don't be stealing from other players and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But it was more of RP how I written it up. But role playing wise, it's like just it's like Morrowind or Skyrim. You don't steal people that are in your guild. That just no, right? So we also set up a bunch of rules, such as the friendship bowl, which was basically whatever treasure and loot that the parties get, they throw it into a bowl. They split it up at the end, just to ensure that everybody gets their equal share. And yeah, so we also took record of everybody's player character sheets. So yeah, we knew what was legit and what was not, right? Short stories and RP chat for the part of lore and world building. We were able to keep track of, like I said, just all the magic items and whatnot. Story notes and that kind of thing for, campaign notes, rare magic items, relics, that kind of thing. We had it all on Google Docs. This is important to remember. So people who had access to the Google Docs were admins and DMs. I'll be getting to this. So we had lots of DMs by this point, about 15 and 20 out of the whole entire player count. We had about 100 or so that were pretty active. At this, it was fairly big. At this point, me, the other DM, me as in Hoots / Calico, and the other admins, we started thinking, well, why don't we set this up as one big campaign? Like all the players are all connected and whatnot through our guild, right? So, yeah, why not, right? Thus, in the game, in Baldur's Gate, in the land of Faerun, there is a old warehouse building in the port district that got bought out and turned into a mercenary mead hall. Thus, in game, our guild was born. The Guild of the Hawks. The founding members were me, Calico, Alice, Garlic, and Thane. We each kind of played a role overall in the House of the Hawks. Alice was a human warlock. She was lawful evil. She was kind of like the big sister of the group, willing to help anybody out with pretty much anything, in-game and out-of-game. She was so nice to the point where she would often kill you with kindness, to the point where it made her an easy target for assholes, to say the least. I felt really bad for her too, because she lived in the UK, and basically she would stay up all night playing, DMing, asking basic questions and stuff like that. It did get to the point where even other DMs and admins were, telling her to basically go to sleep and whatnot. And we actually had to ask her to basically not come to the game, because she basically told us one time that she was staying up she stayed up so far for 13 hours or something like that working on this thing. So we told her, yeah, no, you can't play D&D tonight. You gotta go to sleep. The other guy, Garlic, was a admin, and his attitude was pretty boots on the ground. He's pretty much like our dad. He has run countless second edition games. He was very blunt, very honest, but unfortunately pretty stubborn and sadly vengeful by the end of it. He had a very good insight to the old school approach. He played, like I said, mostly second edition. He was tough but fair, easy to piss off, and yeah. Thane was our edgy stepson. He would do shit to piss off the annoying players, okay? Specifically just the annoying players. He was very blunt, very honest as well. He's hard to love, but, he's harder to hate, to say the least. He handled most of the discipline between the players and stuff like that. If there was a low-level discrepancy between two players, he was very much like Solomon, in the sense of that old story of like two women claimed to be the mother of the baby, so Solomon said that he was going to cut the baby in half so they can each have a half. The fake mother quickly gave up her facade. That was basically Thane. He's an Oathbreaker Paladin. His laws are the code of conduct of the guild. That's important as well. So, unfortunately, that's where we get to me. I was, unfortunately, the drunken uncle that your parents don't want you to talk to. Too bad for them, because you'll never be rad. I wrote the raids. Yes, you did hear me that right. Raids, guild raids. Majority of ventures. I was pretty much the humanoid resources HR. I would also run a shit ton of adventures pretty much every day. That's all I did was pretty much DM. I didn't really do a whole lot of admin and stuff like that. I mostly did world building and adventures. But at the end of the day, being guild master slash game master, it's my duty to enforce the rules, bans, etc. Make the hard calls. Like if you had to talk to me, that meant that pretty much the problem could not be resolved on the lower, basically like officers, if you will, right? Like in a military or a biker club. If you're going to the president to bitch about, that there's some leaves, you know, on your lawn because of your neighbor, you should expect a slap in the face. Like it's you know what I'm saying? So, unfortunately, somebody would be getting the belt. About a month goes on. Things were amazing. There were 2 or 3 games going on at a time every day, to the point where there were some DMs that were becoming too low of a level to play in most of the adventures. So we made a rule that you could get a percent of XP and money. It doesn't come out of the split for the players. That's more of just so the DMs don't lose anything. So that's after they become a fully fledged DM. Before then, they go through what's called a training period, where it's like, you run 3 adventures, basic one-shots, short ones, and we just see if you're good. It's basically to see if you can park the car, so to speak. If you can park the car, then we can trust you with the keys, right? That was basically our attitude. So, this guy joins. He's looking for a group. Just like this, he becomes quickly good buddies with us. He becomes a DM and an admin, and ends up being the most rooted in reality, and by far one of the guys I have the utmost respect for, Vonrig. He's a lawful good dwarf paladin. He's a super fair guy, super fun, super creative DM. This is pretty much what made our squad the high ups. We started hosting raids during weekends. One I did was, just as an example, the players were basically escorting a bunch of cargo ships out across the Sword Coast for extra coins. So the guild had to fight essentially a giant colossus serpent with shark people coming out of the ocean. And the whole entire, about 12, 13, 20 people, or about 20 people, about that. So there was people in the below deck of the ship and people that were on the upper deck. And basically the upper deck people were fighting these serpents and steering through these water spouts and these rogue waves. And so there was a lot going on. And the bottom deck was a bunch of people fighting the shark people trying to destroy the ship, trying to light gunpowder kegs on fire and all this, that, and the other thing. It was a lot of fun. There was a lot going on. So a lot more people joined in, and we're about 5 months in. This is basically where the snow globe begins to crack. There were a lot of rumors, unfortunately, going around in this part. And... Fuck. Some snow globe... Shit. Okay, 1, 2, 3. The snow globe begins to crack. There were a lot of rumors that started to pop up. Sadly, a lot of them was just about favoritism and drama bullshit. Like, this DM is hanging around with this person. They must be involved, or just basic high school bullshit. It was so fucking so dumb. I can't believe that most of these people were adults, to say the least. It was that kind of drama. Okay, I'll just let your mind fucking expand on that. Okay. So a guy joins in, and he says he's played before. He wants to be a DM. We'll call him Amos. So this DM, this new guy, he full-on wipes an entire party, levels 2 to 3. right? Like about 5 people or so. Originally, our reaction upon hearing this was, well, shit happens, right? Assuming that the players died of bad luck, bad strategy, that kind of thing. Nope. The DM apparently critical hitted 3 players out of 5, insta-giving the cleric and warlock, and a fighter, I believe. They were fighting 4 skeletons and a giant dire cobra. Yeah, no. So unfortunately, we had a vote, and we said to ourselves, the group, he shouldn't DM. But he could keep playing with us. That's the thing. He's not experienced enough to kind of know what groups of players can kind of do. He even said to us, too, he didn't change the stats for anything or whatever. He basically, the party ran into a room, the door shut, skeletons popped out, and then a giant fucking snake came out of the wall. That was my understanding. Yeah. So... but we kept letting him. So the 2 major things that happened that really just kind of gaslighted the entire situation was a group of players from our guild were doing an adventure through a town that had up and vanished. The group were sent to find traces or survivors. TLDR, the players ended up in a demonic dimension, a demon lair, if you will. And 2 players had joined that particular faction. They swore their oath to a goddess who was obviously evil. And basically, she was going to turn them into vampires, to be the ultimate Thanes, if you will. Well, a half-orc barbarian by the name of Goric tries to kill the players, which is fair enough, but the PCs themselves didn't want to be vampires in the first place. They just made a really bad decision. So I pretty much blocked him from PKing some people. Okay, because he said, it's what his character would do, blah, 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 blah. I wouldn't let him. Okay. So that started things. Okay. So at the end of the adventure, when everybody was handing out, basically when everybody's handing out the loot, there was nothing that fit with a barbarian, an axe and leather armor, right? There's none of that shit in there, right? So he proceeded to bitch at me about the loot that was given. My instant retort to that was, sorry man, fucking loot crates, am I right? He proceeded to bitch to the other mods and admins, okay, behind my back, and saying that apparently I'm just hoarding all of the loot for his friends. Fuck you, Goric. I hope your dog dies when you love it the most. I try to kill my so-called favorite PCs. I like, the hero types, right? Those are the kinds of guys I like to fuck up because it adds to their legend, okay? When they survive. Luckily, though, Vonreg, he swooped in with his nat 20 of fucking charisma and persuasion and completely diffused the situation. Thanks, Vaughn. Mwah. I get DMs from people just bitching about petty shit. Loot, butthurt, basic bitch stuff. Literally basic stuff, okay? Shit that if you talk to another player, majority of D&D players would scoff at stupid shit like this, okay? Oh, well, Buddy got more gold than me and stuff like that, even though he got this marble statue that doesn't do anything and he forfeited his gold. He's just being greedy. I don't know why. Shouldn't we just sell the marble statue? It's like, well, he forfeited his share of the gold, which is like 200 gold pieces, for a 50 gold piece marble cat statue. Okay, that's a 1 foot by 1 foot statue. Let him have his statue. Oh my god. Like, I can't believe, like, seriously, so fucking petty, dude. So petty. So, eventually, with these kinds of bitches and complaints, I often I wouldn't pay attention. I just would not give a shit. And that's sad. That makes me really sad. It really does. I wish I paid more attention. But when you have 60, 70 messages bitching about basic shit, oh, well, I don't like how you have fighters, but you won't allow dance blades or psionics and crazy shit like that. Keep in mind, it's our first season. It's our first time doing this and stuff like that. So we weren't completely ready to let everybody completely off the handles. Okay. Perfect example was one of the people that went off on multiple paragraphs on me was a person that wanted to be a kobold with a flintlock pistol, essentially, starting off. He said it was part of his backstory. I said, hey, man, that's no problem. I love flavor text. Love it. But it can't be functioning. Like, you can't use it right off the bat. So he rage quit. So this is the kind of attitude of people I had to deal with. So the next stop on this incredible bus ride of dumbassery, dramatic shit, the party was sent to defeat a vampire lord in a very large mansion. Basically, this vampire lord was part of the Zentarnum, who were currently our villains in our campaign. We had a new cleric who earned a lot of repertoire. Lily, she was a lawful good cleric, a life cleric to be more precise. She helped out in a raid when she just made her character. She went into a raid, balls to the wall, pretty much killing everything with her mace. It was pretty fucking metal. So we also had she went on a couple other adventures, but anyways, since this one, the other people in the party were Crystal, a dragonkin sorcerer. You heard that right, a dragonkin. So she's a human sorcerer that believes herself to be a dragon. Dragon blood's not enough. She literally has leather wings. Okay, I thought it was a joke, but she was being rather quite sincere. There was Silas, a druid, a gnome druid, I believe. There was also Uller, the Goliath barbarian, and Thane was part of this party. So when they went into the building, right? They alerted two of these sentries. The sentries got away. They waited, ready to defend themselves. Then suddenly, through one of the doors, they heard a rattle. So Uller got up in a fast stint towards the door, busted through it, ran into the room. Well, he came across a large black armored figure. He just materializes out of the shadows. He stabs himself, releasing a torrent of blood onto the ground. And out of the puddle, a large demon claw hand smashes out of it, revealing a Braylor. The Braylor smashes out into the main room, basically to confront the party, while this black figure begins to 1v1 against Uller. If you don't know what a Braylor is, it's basically a Balrog from Lord of the Rings. So, first round of combat, Thane begins to summon his might, using he's getting ready to use all of his paladin powers and whatnot. Lily begins to start buffing people, getting her heals ready. And the rest of the party just bolts. You heard that right. They literally just churned and ran. They say that they don't think they can win. So they full on DM me, telling me that they're going to leave them. Okay. So as a DM, I tell them, what's going on. The other three, they turn around and so half the party turns around and, they have this big debate. They open up this portal that leads back to the guild. That was basically their get out of Dodge button. And they start having this moral debate. Well, Thane, being Thane, he was fucking furious. And by rights, he should be. He saved these motherfuckers. Okay, he saved these three players before. Crystal, fucking Silas. I'm pretty sure Goric was there. But yeah, he saved these people before, and they were all too quick just to leave him for dead, essentially. Okay. He saved them from death, literally using lay on hands to get them back up. He's taken fireball traps to the chest because the thief fucked up. And they're going to leave him. They were going to leave him. They were going to leave Lily. They were going to leave Uller to their short fucking fate. As a DM, my jaw dropped. Okay, sickness took over my fucking stomach. Okay, because I couldn't believe what I was hearing. You know, Lily was willing to stay and basically fight with Thane and Uller, no matter what. You know what I mean? The other players even requested to take Lily with them. She full on denied that shit. She knew better. Okay. So after several rounds, it's not looking too good. The Black Knight's still up. Uller's just making it through, even with his rage. He's just making it. Thane and unfortunately Lily at this point were about to lose. But the thing is they've been doing so much damage that it was just a neck and neck fight. In all honesty, I was trying as hard as I could to fuck them up. Especially Braylors. Every round they explode with fire. They have a whip, a giant sword, fire breath. I'm pretty sure they're crazy. So the whole entire time, these fuckers are still debating, and eventually they go back in. But 3/4 of the fight is already done. This Braylor has maybe 50 health left by this point. Okay. So, mind you, while these people were having their moral argument, I shit you not, these people were looting and exploring the rest of the mansion. And they came in the last 3 rounds of combat to help them out. And then they expected to get full XP and gold. That was the part that made the rest of the group laugh. Okay. They didn't apologize. They didn't say anything. They just acted like nothing happened, and apparently they were DMing each other that whole entire time. So, after the adventure, the party gets back to the guild hall, and we divvy up the treasure, the experience, all that jazz. And I go back and I look in Discord, and Thane went into RP chat. I forget who it was. I think it was Alice or Garlic at the time. They asked me to come into RP chat. So Thane says in RP chat, he walks over to the table of the people that ran away on him. He never breaks line of sight. He doesn't blink. He doesn't move his head. He just walks straight at them, moving past the tables and the groups of people. The 3 of them are looking in different direction. He walks up and spits a big hock and loogie in Silas's mug of ale. He gets right up into their face, nose to nose. He says, that old lazy bard may give you titles and gold, but he will never give you respect. And it makes me sicker than a gibbering mouther to know that you wear the same wings, the same pin that I do. He says, you're no hunters. You're no hawks. He begins to heavily breathe in their face. His eyes, locking eyes with Silas. They're as large as septums. His voice gets quieter with every word. You're just prey. He flips their table, tossing ale mugs and scraps of food in a wide berth. He proceeds to head out into the smithing area of the guild yard. Well, that was edgy. So, the next adventure, this took place between most of the squad. It was me, Calico Jack. I play as a half-elf drow bard. Thane, Alice, and Vonrig. We headed out on a quest to go find one of the legendary swords, a relic of Faerun. The group and I headed to the catacombs under Baldur's Gate. We had to fight some black pudding. We had to get through lots of traps, and unfortunately, we were rather quite battered and beaten. I had lost some my prized chainmail leggings, and along with my silk suit, and unfortunately, my rapier. The squad was also not so lucky. Alice lost her journal, her staff. Thane lost his gauntlets and his battle axe Daisy. With a large pile, my friend Vaughn lost a family heirloom. We continued forward, solving puzzles and traps, and we find what appears to be a small 15 by 15 room with a large pile of clothes dominating the space. And in the corner lies a old, dusty book. I went to investigate. Then, suddenly, a undead rushed out in a flurry of motion from the piles of clothing, attacking the party. I fortunately got a surprise round. He attacked Thane, grappling him, equal in stance to the half-orc. Sadly, the undead was killed in one round. We saved most of our powerful attacks for the moment, for this exact moment. The undead knight vanished in a black smoke and a large puddle of black ichor. In remains of the puddle of ichor remains a short sword. It has a fist-sized crystal in it. The crossguard had demon wings spread out. It had a glowing aura that pulsed in rhythm like a heartbeat. Thane strolled over and picked it up without giving it a second thought. The sword called to him. Before we could react, he was attuned to it. He went into a meditative state. The DM and Thane went into different chat rooms, so we couldn't hear what they were saying. After a bit, they came back and asked what we were doing while he was attuning. Attuning takes about an hour. We three, in-game, went to an adjacent room. Alice following behind, slamming the door. That power-hungry orc just put us all at risk. That sword is going to possess him. Vonrig and I stayed quiet. Vonrig went on one knee and begins to focus, meditating. Alice begins shaking me quite violently. Don't you care? He's a friend. He saved you, Calico. He saved a lot of people. I couldn't look her in the eyes. I stayed quiet, seeming cold. Alice turns to Vonrig. Vonrig, why? You have to do something. Meditating won't do anything. Vonrig says, I'm not meditating. I'm praying for forgiveness for what I'm about to do. Alice looks at Calico with a higher and says with a higher pitch, You bastards. Calico brushes himself off and begins to approach the door. Vonrig stands up, sighs, and follows quickly behind him. Alice, completely horrified and shaking by this point, doesn't really know how to process this. Calico sneaks into the room and sneaks up behind Thane. Vonrig walks into the room, sits on his knees in front of Thane. Alice stands near the door, ready to escape, or ready to shut the door for what was about to happen. It was quiet. And that's when it happened. Calico begins to hum a melody. He makes a quick movement with his arms, and suddenly there is a harp in his hands. A soft plucking begins to echo throughout the cobblestone hallways. Vonrig the dwarf, he begins to sing in a deep voice, which begins to shake the very foundation. It's at that moment that Alice begins to smile and begins to act rather quite giddy. She puts her hand on Thane's shoulder and begins to guide him away from the darkness that apparently all he can see. After a long time has passed, we came to the realization that Thane is gone. He's taken too much time attuning to it. He's gone. We tried. Vonrig and I, we didn't feel guilt at what we had to do or what we were going to do. We tried our best, and that's the best we could do. Alice didn't take it so well. It unfortunately consumed her. We had to force her into an adjacent room so she didn't have to see or deal with it, unfortunately. That's when he rose to his feet. He didn't smile, his body language was off. Vonnerig readied his warhammer. Alice was distraught. I still had my harp out in one hand. Knowing I had enough time to power word kill him before he could kill me. It was a standoff. 30 seconds in the chat room was so quiet, you could hear the hum of the white noise coming from your headphones. Calico then said in a cocky voice, reaching with one hand and one hand behind his back. So we good? Thane doesn't flinch, doesn't move, says nothing. Calico's hand still reaching out. Hey man, I know you had a fuck of a day. You lost Daisy to those desserts. Let's just go home, dude. In a quick zeist of movement, he quickly grabs Calico's hand, pulls him towards him, and gives him the most awkward bro hug. I love you guys so much. It was like right out of Care Bears. Straight up. So, it turns out that the sword is actually a physical manifestation of a greater demon spirit. This part's important. It steals the body of the user when first making contact with it. It then uses the body to go around the lands of Faerun until the body cannot fight anymore. Basically would go around and just murder spree. The sword, to resist it, you need a charisma save of 30. Okay. So that little scene that I described for you of all of us helping him was using guidance, I think it's divine blessing, and I was using my bardic inspiration. He was only able to do it with a natural 20. The sword doesn't care what your alignment is. In fact, it's easier to take you over if you are good, essentially. So it doesn't matter what kind of fucking rainbow alignment shine that you have, okay? So basically, friendship overpowered this scrub demon. That's the way I look at it, okay? Not to mention, okay, the sword itself is a relic in our campaign. Okay, it's a key item. We need that for our campaign. Okay. It was a +2 short sword. We find a secret room in the 15 by 15 room where we killed this thing and this large drama has taken place. We find a large marble table and 4 masks. Everyone chooses a mask. Alice got a +1 perma wisdom. Vaughn got a 1d4 HP increase. Thane got some gauntlets of ogre strength. Me? I got a gender bending mask. Yup. So I took the mask off. No good. So I was like, fuck. Really? For real? I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'll dispel it. Nothing. I went quiet. The chat room was in solid laughter for about 2 minutes. So I asked the DM, so is this a curse or something? Garlic replied, yes, sir. Is that a problem? So at this point, I was pretty salty. So I asked him, so I have to use a wish to change back? He says, yep. And I said, he quickly retorts, So unfortunately, I got into a argument. Thane didn't say anything for a bit, and suddenly he chimes in. He says, dude, Calico's dispel should have worked. Just admitted that you're fucking with him. Garlic retorts saying, I was just trying to make a side quest out of it. To be all honest, I was not very nice. I said at this point, all right, well, anything goes for quests, right? Oh, man. I wish I knew how true this statement was. It's about then when we got back to the guild hall. We went into RP chat. The Great Meat Hall in the guild, and there was a 30 by 30 square chunk missing out of the floor. Out of our large oak guild floor, there was a 30 by 30 foot square missing. Being that I'm the guild master, And we just spent a month acquiring funds to improve the guild hall. You know, faculties, bunks, work areas, stables, enchanting shops, libraries, skill classes, like actual, like, you know, school classes for skills. You name it, we had it. So this is like going to be 200 gold pieces and like 700 copper pieces of fucking change coming out of my fucking pocket. Yeah, we had a treasury and a deed, etc. Immersion, am I right? So my character stops in the middle of the floor. Everybody's drinking, having fun. As soon as I stop and I make eye contact with it, the guild hall, which was known to be a zoo in Baldur's Gate, on the account of there being 70 hawks that would be at the guild hall, probably getting drunk, starting fights, and, you know, being rowdy, was completely silent. So like a son who just burned down the house, Calico looked in absolute horror. A voice whimpers out from the open floor of the silent pub. Yeah, sorry about that. It's a simple misunderstanding, boss. Calico stands straight up, brushing off his tunic. Throws a coin purse of loot on the bar. It crinkles and tings as it falls off of the bar, landing on the ground. He grabs a bottle of Fey whiskey and chugs it all in one go. He then smashes it on the brick floor, pulls out a pipe, takes a puff, and begins to walk away. Alice says, cockily, "Wow, he's not even mad." She gives a big smirk. Without turning around, Calico says, pipe still in his teeth, he says, I don't get upset. I have people to do that for me. Thane, Alice, and Von Reg begin to talk to the rest of the guild members about the adventure that we just had. That's when Garlic messages pretty much us, the rest of the admins, saying that he is going to quit because of real life stuff. A lot of personal things with family. I don't really blame him. So, unfortunately, when Thane and Alice and Vonrig were talking about their loot, they mentioned that +2 short sword. Right. So people began to get really, really salty, mostly the low levels, about how these guys got a +2 short sword. Oh my god! The reason why I immediately got pissed off about this is we had a rule in the guild that you don't get plus weapons until level 5. Okay, at that time the squad was about level 7, level 8, pretty high levels, right? Plus, there were some pretty salty people that didn't understand. I had an NPC and a PC of the same guy. Because in the campaign, everyone has NPCs at the guild to keep up that MMO feel. See what I'm saying? So, example, someone in the guild takes up smithing or fletching. So when they're not playing, they're making coin. Okay? Because you get a thing called downtime. You do an adventure, you get a certain amount of downtime. In that downtime, you're smithing and fletching, which earns you coin for other people. Well, because of hurt feelings around the guild, okay, and people gaslighting, petty arguments, just wanted to talk shit and start drama, deplatform everything. This is unfortunately the beginning of the end, the fuse that unfortunately lit. And the dabbing was coming. So 2 days go by, nothing of note until that night. As a general rule, I have to reiterate this, we take everything you do in role-playing chat to be legit, i.e., I'm going to pickpocket the bartender. You have to roll in Discord using a program. Okay. So, I was building a dungeon for an adventure I was going to be running later the next day. I suddenly got a direct message from Thane. Dude, you need to go check out RP. Thane. I tab out of Tabletop Sim. I go to RP text chat, and it was going like a Twitch chat box. Amos, that angel, is attempting to steal the sword from Thane. Oh, fuck. I don't know what to say. Thane was able to stave off the cursed sword with our help, and even so, he rolled an nat 20. Okay? So I thought, huh. So Amos rolls, he gets a nat 20. I go, holy shit, wow, lucky. Way too lucky. Then a text comes from him. I got it. As in he didn't do the charisma save yet. I begin to smirk like a fucking devil. I say in chat, great. You stole something from a gold member, which is good. Plus the sword is cursed. You have to make a DC 30 on a charisma save. Well, holy shit. Amos and the 3 others started shitposting like mad. Okay. Crystal catches my eye because she says Calico is lying. It's a DC 20. Dot. I put it in the text channel. I said, huh, that's weird. Because when I went into the Google Docs yesterday, it said DC 30 charisma save. I would know because, I'm the fucking game master. So I went to the Google Docs. And guess what dumb schoolyard autistic bullshit did I find? The Google Docs were changed 3 hours before I logged in. Huh. Odd, right? Well, it looks like something was changed. What do you know? It looks like the sword stats were changed. Looks like they were changed to a +5. Gee whiz. The DC for the sword was changed as well. Not once, but twice. It went down to DC 25 to DC 20. So this piece of shit planned this. Okay. He thought he was so fucking smart. Okay. So I start texting other people in the guild. And what I find out is he took a screenshot of the Google Doc. He took a screenshot of the Google Doc with the edit off to the side. It said there's like a little sticker that says, it's been edited, right? So this piece of shit took a screenshot, okay, right, of the sword stats and the DC and stuff, and he begins this all-out shit posting to people saying the admins keep all the good items for themselves, okay? Hoots is playing favorites. And Thane needs to be banned because he was mean to people. Okay? That is fucking laughable. Okay? First off, I'm a game master. Okay? The concept of hoarding items and experience and gold for myself is a fucking joke. In fact, as a game master, I am so fucking powerful, I don't even have stats. Okay? Oh, man. Oh, gee whiz. Hoots. There's a friendly NPC at the guild that's just way too fucking powerful. Way too fucking powerful, dude. That sorcerer, that's an enchanter, he's too powerful, dude. Get him the fuck out of here. Too fucking bad. He's an NPC. Okay? And the only enchanter that we got. So, shut the fuck up. Okay? So, I tell him to meet me in the chat room. The voice chat room. We do that. Everybody shows up. And it's as disgusting as you can figure it can be. It was like general chat on Battlefield 3. Okay? Just cancer. Okay? Just people mic spamming. Okay? Alright? So we get in there. I call him out on his bullshit. Thane made fun of Crystal for being an otherkin. Okay? Which I'm sorry. Okay? If you're a soul bonder, otherkin, you're fucking loony. I'm sorry. You're fucking crazy. I can't believe I have to have this discussion. You're not a fucking video game character. You're not a Dungeons and Dragons character. Okay? There's a difference between role-playing and actually believing that shit. Okay? So Thane poked at her. So what? Grow an epidermis. Okay? So he says, either Thane gets banned or me and my friends are leaving. Okay? And then he proceeds to start saying he's going to do a bunch of shit. Okay. I said, okay, get the fuck out. I proceeded to banhammer pretty much everybody that was shitposting. Okay. Him, his buddies, Gorick, those fucking douchebags, I banned them. I know, right? I can't believe I had to pull a Steve Shives. Unbelievable. Fucking retarded. And that's the thing. I should have kicked him earlier, but I didn't because I gave them the benefit of the doubt. I was hoping that everybody could be adults and work it out. But no. So, unfortunately, next thing you know, I'm getting DMs from guild members saying that, oh, well, that guy, he did nothing wrong, man. He didn't do nothing. I didn't give him context or what was happening in the background, okay? I didn't tell him about the Google Docs, which was my fault. That was fucking dumb. I didn't have transparency. That was stupid. And I confronted them, right? Instead of just giving everybody a bit of breathing room, okay? I'm man enough to admit that. I fucked up, okay? So, unfortunately, people started leaving because that guy said that I banned people for no reason and I'm basically out to be toxic, which is fucking brutal. All right. So Alice, she eventually just has a mental breakdown because that dude started yelling at her and stuff in private chat. And for the life of me, I don't know why she didn't leave the voice chat. I don't know why she didn't mute the guy, Amos. I have no idea. Okay. But she's fragile. Okay. So Alice basically left. She said she can't take this shit no more. She's taking all of her characters, all the shit that she made. She's going home. Hey, everybody, I know you're playing basketball, but I'm just going to take the basketball and fuck y'all. All right. Okay, fair enough. You do you, baby. You do you. All right. So Vetrov and his two other buddies decide to follow with her. I didn't really care, in all honesty, because he was basically only hung around the guild to hang around with her. Okay? That was pretty much it. He never bullshitted or played around, played other games, or hung around with us after, or, unless she was there. It was really fucking awkward. Okay? So, unfortunately, most of the DMs, they wanted to do their own thing by this point. Okay? Or people that were DMing, they didn't want to DM anymore. They wanted to play. So, this is basically where shit started going downhill because the few DMs that were kicking around, myself, Onrig, and a couple others, we were busy trying to fill the void that pretty much, got left to us, So I took over the reins, pretty much full part, which I should have done from the beginning. I should have been the king, so to speak, as opposed to a republic or a democracy, because that shit didn't work. Basically, I had a partnership with Von Rig, so to speak, where it was kind of like I was a guild master, he was a guild master. So if I wasn't there, he was there. If he wasn't there, I was there. Right. Yet again, trouble started popping up when another player started basically inciting bullshit between Lily and myself, because they figured that I was romantically involved because she happened to get a relic. Not happened, it was the entire quest, the entire adventure to get this fucking sword, this relic, which has the ability to resurrect people and heal. Okay? Two other players started shit, okay? They started talking and just overall starting shit. The sword is broken. The sword is broken. It can resurrect. Yeah, it can. Because you're fighting sorcerers who can drop fucking meteors from space. Like insta-give you. It's so dumb. So I just went full on League of Legends salty by this point. I left the guild. I quit the story. I quit the lore. I quit the world building that had bad pages and pages of backstory, character notes, art, just like that. Why? Because some overly emo fucking dumbasses ruined the game, okay, that I had so much passion for. Gave me a reason to hurry back from work. Jump on. And you could join a chat room of people just bullshitting for the sake of it. And now, these same people take the framework and they start their own guilds, copying our work, and failing to leave an impact, sadly. And this whole situation happened a couple of years ago. And it's turned this thing that I absolutely love. It twisted it, it soured it, it rotted it into something that makes me instantly regret. No matter what you build, people that have nothing to do with it will tear it down and piss on the ashes. But don't worry, my campaign still continues. The adventure still goes on. I actually, believe it or not, use this story in my campaign. The drama, the friendship, mainly because of the theme of my campaign, which is time travel. And the whole crux of my story is that the main villain kept changing events, trying to change things, make things better. And all it does is it starts an effect that just makes it worse. Things have to happen for change, whether that's good or bad. You have to grow from it. I hope you enjoyed my tale of the real housemaidens of the Sword Coast. I'm Hoots.